Shadows of Doubt is a procedurally generated sandbox neo-noir detective game. Set in an alternate futuristic 1980s, you're tasked with solving a plethora of murders across the city via any means possible. Pick locks, hack computers, bribe, and punch your way to cracking the case. Each citizen has a set routine, home, workplace, and perhaps that vital piece of evidence needed to move the story along. First of all, I want to say right out the gate that I really love this game so far. So much so, in fact, that it actually got me to make my first video preview in literally years. So I wanted to get that out of the way before discussing my likes and dislikes. You can play a demo of the game now up until February 13th, 2023, if you want to see if it's your kind of thing. Otherwise, stick around to hear a few more of my thoughts. If you like immersive sims, you're gonna love this game. Pretty much just go play it. Go play the demo. If it's out now, go buy it. Whatever, just play it. You'll like it, guarantee it. It's one of the best immersive sim games I've ever played. You've got so much freedom to solve cases however you want. That's basically the main gameplay loop is you get a case, you find out some information, you piece it together, you go find another bit of information and you follow these breadcrumbs to basically solve the case. And as I said, you get a lot of freedom to do that however you want. You can hack into computers to find information, you can rummage through people's bins. It's all sorts of ways, really. There was one situation, for example, where I could have gone through a door, just lockpicked it and disabled the security cameras, but instead I ended up going through a vent and ended up dropping down in an office. They disabled the camera in there, had a little tinker on the computer, turned all the lights off, and I was going through files by torchlight, and I felt like such a proper sleuth, detective to the max. The scale of things you can do in this game is unbelievable and really has a potential for emergent gameplay that we kind of see in a lot of immersive sims that everybody loves. Another thing I like that kind of combines immersive sim characteristics with survival tropes is things like you need to find somewhere to be warm after you crawl through many vents, or if it's been raining you will be wet and that will make you cold. So I thought it was pretty fun that I could go into a restaurant, go into the bathroom and use the hand dryer to dry off, and then I wasn't cold anymore, I wasn't soaking wet. It was great. A lot of the survival mechanics just make it feel like you're a gruff detective trying to make it in this harsh cyberpunk world. Like there's times where you have to keep eating, obviously, you know, drinking, these kind of things you'd expect, and if you fall, as I did, down about 8 floors I only just broke my leg. So I had to use a flint to bandage myself up so I could keep going. If you get cold, you physically start shivering. So there's cool little things like that. With that being said though, I find the menus quite unintuitive. For example, to select your fists, you have to press X to select them. Then you have to back out of the menu, then punch the person and then go back in the menu to deselect them. It wasn't until I went in Discord to ask for help and asked if there was a less clunky way to do this that someone told me you could actually assign things to buttons, which I didn't see in any part of the tutorial. I was just hoping I could scroll and my fists would pop up, but no. I was thrown into a fight and I had to scramble and I was told press X, do this, do, by which point I'd already lost half my health. Given that you've got a lot of clues to find in the game, there's a lot of threads that are connected literally and figuratively. I find the pin system can be quite daunting sometimes, and I think it's maybe at this point still a bit buggy. There's some things that should update with information that didn't update. There's some things that you should be able to pin. There's some things that will appear multiple times when you try pin them automatically. There's some suspects that will appear more than once, one time with all the information you found and another time as if you've just started the case. But again, I feel like that's just a kink that needs to be worked out. Another thing I like about the game is the graphics. I think voxel graphics are overdone at this point, but for this game I do think it works quite well. Especially considering it's procedurally generated, and I can only imagine the headache that would be. Try to do it on something that looks more like Callisto Protocol, for example. That's not going to be a fun time, and it's going to be quite machine intensive. I think it's a fitting graphical choice considering the game's set in an alternate 80s. So you've got suspects' pictures that are a bit pixelated, which again goes with that aesthetic of the 80s, old computers, things like that. And then the voxel graphics itself. Usually you can tell what the things are meant to be. The neon signs look amazing, the rain looks cool. It all melds together quite well. That being said though, I did find the odd slowdown at the start. I let the intro play. There was a bit of slowdown there, sadly. Plus there's a few things that you can't quite tell what they are until you get really close and hover over it and the information pops up to say, this is a pipe, this is a chocolate bar. For example, off the top of my head. Sticking with the graphics, or in this case animation, I feel like the animation needs to be improved. For example, eating is the same as applying a flint. You just hold something up to your face and boom, it's magically done. Again, this could be because it's still a work in progress, this game, so that could be something added to the final release, I don't know. Similarly, I did find one bug, which considering I played 3 hours total, isn't too bad, but it was a funny one. I got drawn into a fight because I wouldn't pay somebody 100 credits, and I punched them and then they ran around, then they hid inside a food cart. Not on purpose, more like they clipped into it, which is one glitch out of the whole time that I played, to be fair. And I did have a crash as well. When I was looking through some files, I clicked on it to look at the information inside and my game just crashed. And I hadn't saved. It would have been nice to have an auto-save there, but it is what it is. It's fine. I just played again anyways. I was going to play again, so it doesn't matter, really, in the grand scheme of things. Next, the music. The music's quite unassuming, really. It fits the neo-noir theme, aesthetic, whatever, but it's quite sporadic. I wanted to hear more of it, really. There was a nice downbeat synthy tune at the start, nice music for the intro, and then you don't really hear much of it until you're crawling through the many, many, many vents in the game. Aside from that, I've found so far you can play some music on the jukebox, which plays some more fitting noir adjacent music, and apparently there's some licensed music too, but I never came across that in my playthrough. The sound design, however, I think is really, really good. There's plenty of bleeps and bloops for various gadgets and tech. And I really like interacting with computers and hearing that old disk drive sound and gentle hum of the computer. Very nice. Overall, I really think this game gives you that detective feel. I've seen a lot of people compare it to Deus Ex. I mean, yeah, it's cyberpunk and it's an immersive sim, but I kind of feel the comparisons end there. To me, it feels more like a 2D version of the spy puzzle game Gunpoint, but again, that's a very loose comparison. Regardless though, I think the game stands on its own. There's a lot of potential here and I really can't wait for the final release. So if I'm not lazy, I might even give the game a full review. So that's my thoughts for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a subscribe and a like. Be very much appreciated, and I'll see you around. Cheers!